first say that the experience of entering into the EU was very positive for Croatia. Basically, the recovery that we're seeing now is primarily a consequence of Croatia joining the EU in 2013 and the exports booming after that. Now, when you look at the Eurozone perspective of Croatia, one has to have in mind that Croatia is heavily Euroized economy anyway. So about 3/4 of savings in Croatian banks are in euros. And this is a legacy of the past that goes all the way back to Yugoslavia. So once you are heavily Euroized, you have very little maneuver space to play with the exchange rate, and you still have a foreign exchange risk in your interest rates. So in our view, joining the Eurozone would eliminate that risk and actually would have very little costs for Croatia. On the other hand, I fully agree, in order to get into the Eurozone, you have to have structurally good economy, and in order to do that, you have to do structural reforms, of which we will be discussing at this conference as well.
One of the reasons cited for wanting inclusion was access to cheap loans, but of course we've been hearing from many investors who expect peripheral loans to start to widen out again when there is any comments from Mario Draghi effectively talking about exit from extraordinary monetary stimulus. Do you think Croatia has missed the boat on cheap loans?
Oh, I think that Croatia at the moment has now loans are cheap for everyone, historically cheap, even if for Croatia. But I think that Croatia's spread is still relatively wide, and it has been coming down as we progressed with the growth, with reduction of the debt. I think that we have now a space, if the international interest rates start to go up, to narrow the spread further, and therefore not to have an effect on the Croatian interest rates.
When should international investors expect Croatia to obtain a membership of the Eurozone? What date do we pencil in?
No, we're not talking about any dates. We are now having a public discussion this autumn about the costs and benefits. First, we have to see what the position is of the public, of the politics. And then if everyone agrees that it is a worthwhile goal, then we're going to move towards that goal gradually, without any dates.
How do you close the gap in public debt levels? It's still above the 60% required as a maximum by Eurozone partners.
But the main reason why the debt is now falling down, and it is falling by more than 20th of the difference between 60 and 84, which is the precondition for exiting the European excessive deficit procedure, is because the growth has resumed. On the other hand, public finances have been put in order. We had a deficit of only 0.8% with a significant primary surplus, and with the growth of 3%, now we're seeing the public debt coming down. In 2019, it will be already below 80%, coming down further.